Welcome to Richmond Events Podcast, Leaders in the Industry, where we sit together with top-notch leaders discussing important topics in the HR, IT, marketing, finance, and healthcare industry. Today's topic will be mainly about platform economy. For this, we have invited Dr. Boeckenfeld from Gentwo, which is holding an industry session at the Richmond Financial Industry Forum in Interlaken in May. She will talk about what it takes to be a leader in the financial industry. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome, Marta. And let's start about talking these platforms, or starting a little bit before 20 years ago. How did you enter the financial industry, and what continuously inspires you to keep working in this field?
Yeah, so thanks a lot, first of all, for having me today, but also at the Richmond event in May. I'm very much looking forward to share my experience and to discuss platforms, in particular also in banking and financial services. I think it's extremely exciting. And back to your question, what excites me and how did I come to finance? So as you might have seen in my history, I'm a lawyer by training. But during my studies, I also already did finance, but not with a formal degree. But I got quite fascinated by this overlap between legal and finance and what you can do with it. And I had the opportunity to start in Hong Kong, first as a legal counsel and then as a CFO, which was fantastic. So I was always giving great opportunities by people. So I always got good chances to trial things, to explore things. And that, I think, is during my whole 20 years and even more career, I always get these opportunities from people, which is fantastic and maybe also very unique. But I think from a personality point of view, it's important, and that's one of the things which drive me, is that you embrace change, that you embrace transformation. And how you can do this is always to learn, always also be prepared to fail.
Prepared to fail is a good word and part of the next question, because everything is also part of leadership. So what makes a good leader in your eyes, especially in this field?
Yeah, you already picked me up on this. So I would say there's a very famous quote which says, always try and test, and never fail to try. So even if you fail, then you should try again. So my mother had a little postcard for me always when things were not going well. It's a princess on this postcard, and she always said, you have to put up your crown after you have been falling and then move on. Yeah. So this move on is important. And I do think you get a lot of experience through that, which you can obviously share with others. So in terms of leadership, I think nowadays it's very important that you are really loving people to work with, and you choose also an environment you enjoy. So for me, it's very important that I work where there is a clear purpose, and where I go to with energy and passion. So not every day is the same, obviously. And when I was a CEO, obviously you cannot always have everyday fun, but the fun comes when you do whatever you do it with people you like. So obviously also there, it's not always easy, and you should not, as a leader, I mean, this is really basic principle, choose the same that you are, but that's very boring. So if you have all the people are having the same mindset, in the sense of no diversity, no even generational differences, and people who maybe also have had no contact to digital transformation. In my view, these are very, very important, also in my experience. So when I do this kind of digital transformation, I love to have people who have no exposure to that so far. And then they try and learn and see the excitement, because you should not forget how many clients are not yet that digital, and also some of the older generation, which we have to take with us. So it's very good to have this people who are kind of representative of our clients, also of the population, and to make sure you bring them on board and you can bring them with you on the journey.
Okay. Very, very special and great feedback. And what do you see in the future? How could it help for the platform economy in the financial industry?
Platform economy is really about a shift in mindset, in particular also in banking. And we see that slowly coming through. So it's not so much, I would say, it's obviously part of it is tech, but it's more about the experience. So if we look at the famous quote from Steve Jobs, he always said, you start with the experience and then the tech follows. So for banking, that means also I have to start with the experience. What is the experience my clients expect from me? And that's quite interesting today because we have so-called liquid expectation. So everyone now uses Amazon. So you want your services on a click. You want to have it hyper-personalized. Then when you search something, you use Google. Yeah. For you, it's very, very easy. You search, you Google. So then the next, Netflix also, the experience is that they create content which is very snackable for you. So it is something which is personalized, yes, but also the beauty of Netflix is that they generate content based on your liking, and they even produce a series which are always successful because they know exactly what the population wants. So just imagine you create a Netflix of banking with this kind of liquid expectation where you say, yes, I don't dump any more big reports on clients. What I do is I really try to understand what they are looking for. I do more training. I do more easy things for them so that they get familiar with questions like cryptocurrency, metaverse, and all these things which they don't know about, and make them comfortable with it. So these liquid expectation travel from our day-to-day expectation also to what I expect from a bank. And I think this is platform mindset, so that you come and be open to experience. And with that experience, then you apply to whatever you do in banking. That's part of it. The next big part is ecosystems. So if you think about a platform without an ecosystem, without partners, is not really working very well. And we have seen that over and over again. So a lot of the banks are now moving into the direction of platforms. And why platforms are so important is exactly because they bring the experience to the clients. So again, an example, maybe very practical also here in Switzerland, you have a lot of people who are looking for a home and they still have problems with a mortgage. So we have seen that mortgage platforms are on a rise. So you can say, yeah, but what are the numbers? So the numbers are quite simple. We have around 1 trillion mortgage volume in Switzerland, which is huge for 9 million people. We have around 120 to 150 billion Swiss francs every year moving. So meaning renewal and new. And we have a lot of the banks involved in that. And the platform market share is only 4% right now, approximately. But what is amazing and what we have seen with platform and ecosystems and good network effects is exponential growth. So the growth over the last 5 years was over 40 to 50%. And that's amazing. And so you can see that if you work in a platform environment and you do it, I would call it, in the right way, with an ecosystem, with partners, you understand the journeys of the client. So you understand, for example, that the client is looking for a house. So now mortgage platforms are offering the mortgage directly when I go on HomeGate, like Key4, which I have been launching at UBS. Then you also have MoneyPark. MoneyPark does something similar. So you try to reach the client where the journey starts, and you don't expect him to come to a bank after he had maybe all the problems. Yeah. So you rather try to help him from the beginning. And then you have also the platforms extending to insurance, because obviously you need insurance, you need movers, you need all of this. So the platforms are now trying also to build an entire ecosystem around home and living, because what's the most boring part, I think, is for the clients is a mortgage, and the most annoying part, because that always is a challenge for them. So if a platform can really provide this experience and make their life easier, because normally if you want a house, it's a home for you and it's the most important decision in your life. So from a banking point of view, it's important that you help the clients to achieve that, and not only with banking services.
Really good tips and a good overview about this platform economy. What are your plans in the near future? Because as I follow you, I see many projects. Do you have special projects coming up, including digital transformation platform or in digital banking?
Yeah, I work with a couple of also startups and other companies to support them in their journey. And right now, as you have seen, I'm very focused on the metaverse and what it means for banking. Because I do believe that's the next big thing. And we have already seen a number of banking moving what we call the metaverse. And the metaverse is obviously not yet there. Some argue it's there, some argue it's not there. But it's something, when you think about it, is a virtual world. It will interact with the real world and is already interacting. So we have in South Korea is one of the most advanced, for example. We have already a bank there which has the first banker, the first AI banker. We have other things. JP Morgan has a lounge in the metaverse, which caused a lot of waves. I mean, it's only a lounge, but certainly they will do more. And the most exciting thing in the metaverse for banks right now is one is the experience you can bring to the clients, because clients get more used to video chat and so on. But it's nicer if you also see the other person really moving and you maybe can sit together, you get advice. So that's the next big thing, which is already there. But it's the financing in the metaverse. Yeah. So we have seen mortgages in the metaverse. We have seen payment infrastructure in the metaverse, all platform based. And the biggest and most advanced platforms are now gaming. So don't forget that gamers are no longer gamers only. So we have around 3 billion gamers, and we have events in the metaverse. We have fashion in the metaverse, if we call gaming the metaverse. And again, if you think back to experiences and liquid expectation, so we talked about Google, Amazon, Netflix. If we now think about the Fortnite and the Roblox experience, that's amazing what people, our next generation now experience there. So they expect the same from any other services you provide.
Okay. Do you have, in a short term, some other tips for our delegates and participants regarding platform economy, digital transformation, if they rethink? Short tips from you?
Yeah, I always love to read. So I hope the audience does that too. So there is a great book, two great books which I can really promote. One is called The Interaction Field, with lots of examples where how platforms are generated, how they work, what interactions you need. Because at the end of the day, it's not just putting one side together with the other, like you have an Airbnb or Uber. It's much, much more. It's how you drive the liquidity, that you have enough renters and enough people who rent out. Also, Airbnb has extended to Airbnb experiences. So it's much, much more. We have Alibaba, we have WeChat is very interesting. So all of these examples are in this book and very well describe how you do it and how you really build a successful platform. And the other book, that's from Erich Joachimsthaler. The other book I would recommend is Banking Platforms for Fintechs and Banks, so Platforms for Fintech and Banks. That's a book from Paolo Sorini and is also fantastic. So it has had great coverage already. And I do think it makes sense, apart from having the practical part and execute on it, to understand what are platforms, get some examples, to really understand the dynamics. I think that's important.
Okay. And finally, could you give us a small teaser into your topic for the Richmond Financial Industry Forum? Your topic or headline is to be or not to be a platform.
Yeah, if I continue that sentence after what we have discussed today, you will probably know what I'm saying. To be or not to be a platform is no longer a question. And it's also proof from the World Economic Forum, who has estimated that 70% of the growth in the next couple of years will come from platforms. And if you go onto these numbers, embedded finance is a 7 trillion opportunity. And what, to my surprise, Gartner said in 2018 is that most of the banks in 2013, the incumbent banks will be irrelevant because what they call digitization is not enough, and they should more think about platforms.
Great. Marta, thank you very much for this podcast, your experience. Thank you so much. And we're excited to meet you in person in May in Interlaken. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I look very much forward to see the audience and to see you, obviously, and explore this topic further.